Welcome to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Let's Talk Cars Radio is sponsored in part by Napa Car Care Centers, the BDG Auto Group, and by Bob and Cindy's Cotman Transmissions. Be a part of the program today by calling 757-222-3705. That's 757-222-3705. Email your questions and comments to Dave at letstalkcarsradio.com. Now, here is the host of Let's Talk Cars Radio, Dave Palach.
Happy Saturday, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I am your host, Dave Palach, hanging out with Rockin' Larry Cobb. And, of course, Cameron is doing all of our technical work as usual. What's going on, guys? How was your guys' week?
I forgot I was here.
You forgot you were here. I
got blown away yesterday.
I had like one of the worst weeks ever when it comes to cars. So I'll start with the simple. So Nathaniel's car gets into a hit and run on Sunday. A guy hit his vehicle and then took off. So that took up my Sunday night into Monday, and so that was how the week started. We did eventually find the car. I wouldn't give up, so we went looking for the car. We kind of had some inside knowledge about the car and possibly the driver, so Dad put his skills to work. And
was it somebody you knew?
No, I don't know them. I know people who are acquaintance of the person or believe that's who was involved.
Yeah, I get it.
So I used my old investigation skills and went looking for the car, and I found it. Nowhere close to my house, a whole on the other side of town, but I found the car. So dealt with that at the beginning of the week. Then, so here's something that I want to get into, and something that you guys may not know, and you guys do need to know. So car insurance and home insurance and all that is a fickle thing as far as I'm concerned. I think for most people it is, because we think we have everything covered, and we don't realize what's not covered until it's too late. So I ran into this week, and I'm still a little irritated about it. So basically, here's how it works. We have a car that is parked outside of my garage. Now, keep in mind, my garage doesn't face the front of the house, guys. My garage is actually behind the house. So it is one of those situations where you drive past my house and come around to my garage. So we have a project car that me and my son have been working on that's been back there for a little while. And we've been doing work with front end and all kinds of stuff to it. So during the last rainstorms and stuff that we've had, they dropped a log on it. So a log out of one of the trees came down and crashed and hit the roof of the car and took the back window out and squished the roof on the car. So now it's a project car, and I know tons of you all that listen do have project cars. So this is important to listen to in case you did not know. Now, I don't have insurance on the car, and the car doesn't have tags or anything on it because it is a project car. So there would be no reason for me to have the car insured or have tags on it because I got the whole engine ripped apart and the whole front end off the car. Okay, so never in a million years would I ever thought how this would play out. So I call my homeowner's insurance because it's personal property, right? That makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I call them like, hey, had a tree limb come down in the yard, a large one, and hit this vehicle that's a project car for me and my son are working on. And without missing a beat, well, that's probably not going to be covered. I'm like, how's that? Well, you'd have to have car insurance on it. And I said, well, I wouldn't have car insurance. I'm not required to have car insurance on it because it's a project car. I'm not driving it. It's not on the road. It doesn't have license plates on it or anything else. So, why would I put plates on a car that isn't going to be on the road for a while and that we're working on? And why would I have it insured? Because I figured it'd be covered under homeowner's insurance because it's personal property. No, that's not the case. So I now have a car that's worth about $7,000 that's squished. And with no recourse and no action to get my money back.
Nothing to salvage?
I probably could tear the car down and sell it in pieces, I'm sure, but that wasn't the intention of the car.
You should have told your insurance company it was a zombie apocalypse and they would have covered it.
Well, here's what they told me. So that she's like, well, if it's any motorized vehicle, it's not covered by your homeowners. And I was like, okay, well, what if it was a dune buggy? If I had like a dune buggy, it was like a sand rail or something like that I was driving, that's not covered either because you wouldn't have insurance on that.
They wouldn't cover it based on that criteria.
The criteria that's a motorized, that's right, because it has an engine. So then I told her, I was like, I tell you what, I'll call you back tomorrow. I'll yank the engine out of it, and we can call it yard art. Now my yard art got damaged. She didn't find that as funny as I did, but I mean, I was trying to make a point. I'm like, it makes no sense. It's just one of those things you guys got to be careful. When you have insurance policies, if you didn't know, and maybe you're smarter than I am when it comes to insurance, which very well could be the case, I assumed since the car was not required to have license plates on it, it's not required to have insurance on it, that if anything happened to it, that it would be covered by my homeowners. I just assumed that to be true. And I've worked on a lot of project cars over the years that I've never put insurance on it because there's no purpose to put. I'm not driving it.
Maybe you have to add it. Maybe you have to actually call your agent and add it to the policy.
Do you know how many project cars I've had in and out of the garage over the years that I've never had car insurance on because I just assumed if anything happened to it while it was in my possession that it's covered by homeowners. Not that you never think a log's going to fall out of the tree and hit. I'm not talking a branch. When I say log, I'm not misspeaking. I mean a log. This thing's about as round as a coffee can.
I never would have thought that either.
And I just thought if it did, it would 100% be covered by your homeowners. But no, that's not the case.
A lesson learned.
A very expensive lesson learned. I mean, I had other damage, done, from this the last day, winds blowing, people's fences are being ripped up, and I got some siding that's come loose on the house and stuff like that. I would never in a million years think about calling my homeowner's insurance on something like that. I just take care of it because I just think that's par for the course and it's not worth making the telephone call. But a log falling out of a tree and hitting your car, kind of not par for the course.
Not your daily occurrence.
No, definitely not your daily occurrence. So I'm dealing with that, and then I'm dealing with Nathaniel's car. Nathaniel's car may very well, once again, we've done, be a total loss.
Oh, man.
After all the work he's put into it and the paint job, he got the custom paint job put on it and stuff like that, it may very well be a total loss again.
If you caught the guy that did it, won't his insurance make you whole?
I'm still dealing with Virginia Beach Police Department. Waiting for you guys to get back to me. Just saying. I see you. I placed my telephone calls because they were still doing all their reports and their investigation and stuff. But I went and made sure I took pictures of the license plate on the vehicle and stuff just in case nobody got back to me in a timely manner. So I am giving them their space to get back to me. Once again, I'm still waiting. So you got my number. We can be friends. Give me a call. But yeah, I'm waiting to see how that's going to play out. If not, because I don't want to make a claim against my insurance. It's not, it shouldn't have to. It should be the person who hit me's insurance.
Oh, so, I agree with that.
But yeah, we Dad played detective Sunday night after the wreck. So, like I said, I just had a feeling where the area we'd find the car, and sure enough, that's where we found it.
Those skills came in handy.
Yeah, they definitely did. So, did you guys see the win yesterday and the Pepsi truck that flipped over?
I did.
That's a pretty scary thing, isn't it?
Yep.
So if you guys are listening anywhere in the Hampton Roads area, which you guys didn't know, we do broadcast nationwide. We're also on Facebook Live. Hey, thanks everybody for joining in with us on Facebook Live and watching the show. Can't appreciate it more. Viewership has definitely gone up. If you think I'm mistaken when I say viewership, I'm not. We actually broadcast on the radio here out of Norfolk, and then we broadcast nationwide through Facebook and on the internet and everything else. So we're everywhere. If you want to find us, you can find our show. And if you haven't got a chance to check it out, there's replay videos you guys can go check on Facebook too. So if you didn't catch a show, you can go catch it. I make it easy for you.
Yes, you do.
But so yeah, the Pepsi truck flipped over, and I got a bunch of pictures sent to me, actually from the media, and then from a friend that actually drove through the area. Had a couple pictures posted late last night. So
I imagine there's probably plenty of those scenarios that played out yesterday, given the area that storm covered. Could you imagine
being on the bridge, you're minding your own business, just driving along, trying to deliver your ice-cold, yummy Pepsi? Yeah, I'm a Pepsi fan, not a Coke. And all of a sudden, you just go over. I mean, the truck just blows over. And you're on the bridge, and all you can see is water coming at you. You know what I mean? So
that'd be enough to scare me to death, yes.
Yeah. If
I have a fear of going over a bridge anyway in a car, much less a truck.
So you're trying to say if the blowover didn't kill you, the fall probably would have, just from a heart attack?
As soon as I hit the water, that'd be the end.
That'd be it. You start panicking?
Yeah, I'd drown.
Every time I go across the bridges here, I start thinking about, because people have gone over, quite a few people have gone over off the bridge.
Bay Bridge Tunnel especially.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I wonder what you're thinking in that couple seconds of free fall before you hit the water.
They say crisis goes by fast, but I think in that case the time would slow.
I think probably this is why Mom said to wear clean underwear every day. That's probably one of the thoughts.
You know the old story about that. You can wear clean underwear, but after you've been into a traumatic event, they won't be clean anyway. What difference does it make?
I never thought about it that way. Oh, the things that you bring up. All right, I'm moving on. Did you see the transporter truck carrying all the exotic cars, Porsches, Maseratis, and Bentleys that didn't make I think it's up in Delaware, didn't make the bridge? Tried to go underneath the overpass, and it was too tall?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, just destroyed the cars inside the truck.
Did the overpass rip the cars right off the top, or what?
It crushed the top of the trailer and just decided to just plow its way through the top, I guess, of the cars that were in it. I mean, it's a nice truck. So if you guys want to go check it out online, actually a listener sent me the little file for it. But it's a custom truck, so it's a custom trailer, climate controlled trailer too for the car. So it's a high dollar truck and trailer assembly, and it had a lot of nice Porsches and Bentleys and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Used to be nice.
Yeah, it used to be nice. Selling them for cheap now, and it was a private collection, which makes it even worse. This was somebody's private collection, so it's not like they were on their way to a dealership or something.
Wait till they deal with their insurance company.
I was just about to say that. Yeah. Just about to say that.
Bridges aren't included. Do you have the bridge clause? No bridge clause? Yeah, sorry, can't help you. Yeah, that's tough luck. You should have anticipated that the bridge was going to crush your car. So since you don't have the bridge clause, well, there's nothing we can do for you.
And those cars probably weren't registered, were they?
You know what? Nah, you would think. At that point, I guess the transporter would have some type of insurance for moving the vehicles.
I would think he'd be responsible, but they're unregistered cars, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, if he has a private collection, maybe the cars maybe they are insured. I don't know.
Could be, but
either that or he's facing the same problem I am.
I was going to say, given that criteria, he's in the same boat as you.
Yeah, right. Well, if it was a boat, it would have been covered because it's not a land vehicle.
But did the boat have a motor?
Well, I guess that's where the gray line is, because I actually brought that up too. Apparently there's a gray line of if it's a boat, then maybe it's covered because it's not made for land or, Let's just say I'll be shopping insurance companies real soon. Can you see I'm a little bitter about it?
I get it.
Hey, do you remember when I told you about Costco selling cars?
Uh-huh.
Do you know that since 2008, they've actually jumped hugely? And so they went from selling 8,000 cars or something like that, and then it jumped to selling 200,000 cars to now they sell 560,000 cars a year. At Costco.
Can you buy cars at the Costco here?
I would think so, yeah. Costco sells cars.
I mean, I
didn't even know they sold cars.
I didn't. How do they do it? They don't have a lot or anything.
They don't have a lot. I guess they do it all through an office and online, and they sell cars, and it's a direct price. So there is no negotiate or anything like that. This is the price for the car, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And then you buy the car and they deliver it to the Costco. Is that how it works?
I guess. Yeah, I never knew. If you guys didn't know, join the club. Costco sells cars.
I have to look into that.
Well, I mean, Costco and Walmart, they all sell crazy things that you'd never know they sell.
Now, these are new cars, correct?
Yeah, new cars. Just like, Walmart sells caskets.
I had heard about that, but I didn't explore it because I'm not fond of the subject matter.
No. You don't want to go get two and just put them in the garage for future use?
No, I'll just need to earn.
I just think it's weird. I mean, what? I couldn't imagine going to Walmart and be like, I'll take that one.
I did a TV commercial many years ago for a company that was selling caskets.
Caskets?
You could buy your casket directly at a discount price. And I actually did a TV commercial. I can't remember much about it because it's been such a while back, but you could buy your casket pre-need.
There's something morbid about that.
I wonder if the thrift store sells some.
Oh. Oh, no, that would be a weird thing. That'd be a weird thing to find. You walk in a thrift store and there's a casket. I would have so many questions that you wouldn't be able to answer.
Well, I did this standing in front of a casket.
Oh, did you?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Lordy. No, I don't. I don't know. I don't know what it is about the subject, and when it comes to caskets and all kinds of stuff that something weirds me out about all that. I just can't. I can't get into it.
Yeah, people don't like to talk about death.
No, they don't. But you know what they do like to talk about? All of our sponsors. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, how did you learn how to drive a stick? I remember my first time. Hope you remember yours. Talk to you soon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio with Dave Palach here on Freedom 1110 WKQA.
Something really cool happened in 1975. And no, it wasn't the beginning of the disco era. Congress passed the Magnuson-Moss Act, so you don't have to take your vehicle back to your dealer to keep your vehicle manufacturer's warranty in effect. Our Napa Auto Care Center uses the proper replacement parts and procedures to keep that warranty valid. Visit our independently owned Napa Auto Care Center today.
Hey guys, you asked for it and I delivered. Check out our all-star team of automotive specialists at NapaBDGHRVA.com. That's NapaBDGHRVA.com. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, Dave Pilach from Let's Talk Cars Radio. You've heard me say it time and time again. Anyone can guess what's wrong with your transmission. The true test is getting it right the first time. At Bob and Cindy's Cottman Transmission in Janif, there is no guessing. They understand that your car is more than just a car. It's what gets you from work on time and home safely at the end of the day. Bob and Cindy understand you have to work hard to meet the needs of your customer. Their certified technicians will help keep you on the road for years to come. If you can drive it, they can fix it. Call Bob and Cindy today at Cottman Transmission Janif, 656-4123. That's 656-4123.
Nobody remembers the name J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated until you need them. But when you have a toilet problem, drains back up, pipes freeze, your heat or air conditioning stops working, then you remember J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Don't forget the phone number, 399-1714. That's 399-1714. Air conditioning and heating and all plumbing. J.F. Whitlow & Sons have been serving Hampton Roads since 1949, residential and commercial. You can always count on J.F. Whitlow & Sons to get to you fast and get the job done right the first time. Located in Portsmouth and serving all of Hampton Roads. Those who know, call J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Call them at 399-1714. That's 399-1714. J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated. Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Call into the program now at 757-222-3705. Now, here is Dave Pilach.
Welcome back, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. I'm your host, Dave Pilach. So before we went to commercial break, we were talking about buying cars and everything else at Costco's and Walmart's.
Next thing you know, you'll buy one at 7-Eleven.
Ooh. Thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Get your car here.
Drop in for a Slurpee and a new ride.
And a new ride, right. Well, you get your new car and get Slurpees in the cup holder. Hey, so I got a listener letter. Y'all ready for this? Hey, Dave, I own a 2005 Dodge 2500. I hear you guys talk about servicing the transmission, and I think I have all the right information to make a right choice. My question is, I have 123,000 miles on it, and I know it's time to do something, but I'm just a little bit afraid from what you guys talked about in the past. John in Norfolk. So, yeah, John in Norfolk, we have talked about this many, many times. You have to do something with the transmission. You just can't keep on driving it and do nothing and ignore it. And I know that's the fear is what happens after if I go ahead and I service it and what's going to happen from there. There's two different sides of this. So some people very much believe that going ahead and flushing the transmission is their best bet. Hook it to machine, let it flush it. It's, if it has 14 quarts or 15 quarts, it's supposed to take all of it out and replace all of it with a new 15 quarts. I am one of the people that I like a little different system. I like pulling the plug, and I like doing a gravity, change and actually pumping fluid in from the top, so it just runs the fluid through without actually putting pressure with the machine. A lot of people, it's been the biggest argument back and forth. We've argued about this for years and years on this show. That's just one of my favorite ways to do it. I know technology is changing. I know the machines have changed over the years. It's a lot less pressure to push fluid through than it used to be. But the end result is, the question that you're asking, you just don't know. If you already, this is my feeling. Usually when somebody thinks about servicing the transmission, they're already starting to feel something they don't like. That's just my belief. You'd agree with me on that.
Money.
Well, yeah, and money too. But most people who are like out of the blue go, I want to have my transmission serviced. a lot of times is because they felt something. That's just my belief, and I could be wrong, and people can argue that point forever. But I've never had anybody out of the blue go, you know what, today's a great day to go ahead and go service my transmission. It's never happened to me. I mean, it never has. It's usually because they know that's gone really long, or they have started to feel something they're worried about. So then their hope is by servicing it that all of their problems will be fixed. And that's a good thought, I guess, in theory, but
I've been guilty of that.
Yeah, but it's not usually the case. The best thing you can do is take it down and let somebody take a look at it. Go ahead and go through, feel everything. Go ahead and hook it to a scanner. Just make sure if you're starting to feel something that's if you're just trying to get it serviced, which very well could be the choice, at this point in time, then go ahead and have service. But at that point in time, a good transmission shop is going to go ahead and they're going to take a look at it. They're going to do all the things right by you and make sure. And if you don't have a transmission shop, make sure you take it down. As you guys heard, one of our new sponsors is Cottman Transmission. It's Bob City's Cottman Transmission at Janif. Take it down to them. Let Bob City take a look at it. Let them check it out and see exactly what's going on. And they can lead you in the right direction. It's one of those things. Transmissions are the thing you do not want to play with. You 100% want to make sure that if it is something that can be solved simply, you get it fixed before it becomes a big problem. So go ahead and give them a call, and they'll get checked out for you. You'll really like some of the things they do down there. So we're excited about having them on as a sponsor.
Indeed.
So anyway, moving on. Hey, did you guys hear about the chief design, Ralph Gills, for the Chrysler Group? Mm-hmm. He was involved with an accident that happened past week. He came upon an accident and was trying to assist, and then another set of cars piled into the cars he was trying to assist, which then caught fire. Unfortunately, somebody did pass away in it, but he used his Jeep to try to separate the cars because the cars were all wedged together, and one was on fire, and the people were trapped. So to get them out, what he did is he pushed the front of his Jeep against it and shoved the car to the other side of the median to get the car away from the fire so people could get out.
Man, pretty brave.
It is. When I was a kid, I want to say I was probably like 10 or 11 years old. There was a real big car fire out on the freeway, and I watched a guy get out and run over to the car, and he was trying to open the doors up while the car was on fire, and he was burning himself trying to help get the people out. I thought it was a pretty brave thing to do.
Yeah, if you're a decent guy, you don't think about it. You're just trying to save the people that are in there.
No, that guy got pretty burnt up trying to help those people, too.
Did he succeed?
Yeah, he managed to get the door open, and the lady got out. But, he had to, really reach in and try to help him. So,
hey, good for him.
There's people out there like that.
There was a huge car accident on Independence Boulevard last night.
Was there?
When I was heading to work.
That's crazy.
I wonder if it was wind-related.
Hey, so I posed a question out there this week, and I thought it was kind of interesting. And you know how I tell you, I like to put questions out there and just open up debate and see where it goes from there. Do you remember the first time that you learned how to drive stick?
Mm-hmm, I do.
And Larry and I were talking about it off the air and stuff. So that was when you had your driver's permit?
I had a learner's permit, yes.
What kind of car was it?
1960 Ford Galaxy 500.
Now, was your first car a standard?
Yeah. My first car was a 1960 Ford Falcon.
And it was a standard.
Yes.
So I find it interesting that, as I opened up the debate and I was talking to a lot of people, people don't really drive standard anymore or don't know how to.
Hey, back in that day, automatic transmission was a add-on option.
It was a luxury.
Yeah. You had to pay extra. If your car had automatic, you pay extra for it.
Well, you still pay extra for it nowadays.
Yeah,
we don't see a lot of standards sold in this area, but I just don't think we're the right area for it. But if you get like in Kentucky and Tennessee area and stuff like that, a lot of standards. And I think it's because of the hills and all that kind of stuff is the reason why they do it out there. But it seems like, another thing I noticed that convertibles have really started to go away. You notice how you see convertibles everywhere back in the day? Now you don't see them very often.
They seem to come and go.
I remember, 20 years ago, you saw a lot of convertibles running around. Now, if I see a convertible, I turn my head and kind of look at it. I'm like, you know what I mean? Because I just don't see them like I used to. Mm-hmm. But, yes, so for me, for standard, it's kind of funny. So I got in the conversation, and I never really realized it until I got in the conversation about driving standard. No one taught me how to drive standard. Somebody taught you, I take it?
My father did, but it was like trial and error. I mean, I remember the first few times trying to move with the jerking.
Whiplash?
Yeah. I had no trouble with the gears. The biggest problem was learning how to use the clutch and smoothly accelerate.
No one taught me how to drive standard. And the story's kind of funny, and I'm going to tell it to you. So I just got my driver's license, and I was one of those kids, and some people are that way, some people aren't. I could not wait to drive. from the time that I realized what driving was, I could not wait to drive. I just yearned to drive anything. It didn't matter what it was. I mean, mowing the lawn with a riding lawnmower was like, I loved it because I got to drive something. I mean, I kid you not. If it had a steering wheel and wheels and I could drive it, I was all about it from a very young age. I had watched so many car movies that I had convinced myself that I knew how to drive a Standard. I just convinced myself. I didn't. So moving forward, I get my driver's license, and I go with a friend of mine, Paul, and we go out to the desert for a summer to build houses. Okay, so we're in the middle of nowhere. And his dad had a Ford pickup truck. And he knew I had my driver's license. Paul did not have his yet. And he was like, you know how to drive Standard? I instantly was like, oh, absolutely. I mean, without missing a beat, I didn't even have to think about it. And the answer to that really was, no, I've never driven one before. But I was just like, absolutely, yeah. He's like, and I didn't really know why he was asking. So we worked, for a couple of days hard. It got to the weekend, and he threw me the keys to his brand new Ford truck. He was like, why don't you guys take the truck into town, which was a good little ways from where we were building that. He's like, and just go, hang out and have a good time. So now I was stuck because I'd already told him I know how to drive a Standard. But I had convinced myself that I knew how to drive Standard. I got behind the wheel. He had no idea I didn't know how to drive. I had seen it on TV so many times and watched so many car movies that I got behind the wheel and was able to drive it and really didn't have any issues. The only problem I had is the house was sitting up on a hill that we were building, and there was no driveway yet. So you had to bring the front wheels to the edge and then gas it and pop the front wheels up onto the ledge and then gas it for the back end to come up onto the top of the hill. And that took me, leaving was fine because you just drop off the hill and go. Yeah. Coming back was a little different.
Which took clutch work involved.
It took me like 7 or 8 times. I remember him coming out around the corner and looking like,
I thought you knew how to drive.
He'd never said anything to me about it. But I drove that vehicle that whole summer, and no one ever taught me how to drive it. I just literally had seen it on TV so many times that I had just willed myself to be able to drive a stick. And what I thought was funny is later in life, and I never, like I said, never really thought about this until a couple of days ago. Do you know no one ever asked me, like my parents, any of my siblings, where'd you learn how to drive a Standard? No one, it never dawned on them to ever ask me. Because from that point on, I had a Standard vehicle. And no one had ever showed me. My mom hadn't showed me because we didn't have a Standard vehicle. My dad surely didn't show me because at that time he didn't have a Standard vehicle. And it never dawned on them to ask me, how did you learn how to drive a Standard?
Maybe nobody cared.
But wouldn't you think about asking that question? Where did you learn how to drive a Standard? Because if it's like my mom taught me how to drive.
Yeah.
And I would have thought, at that point, I would have thought
of all people, I would have thought she would have. If she taught you how to drive, I would think she'd be the one asking, well, how did you know how to do this?
My mom's idea of teaching me how to drive was a really cool idea, by the way. My mom reads books, a lot of books. So I'd be behind the wheel, I had my learner's permit, and we get on the freeway, and we lived in Vegas. We'd head out to Henderson, which at that point in time was a good drive because they didn't have the road systems you have now. And she'd sit in the passenger seat and just pick up a book and start reading the book, and away I would go. I just literally, Larry, I kid you not, I had watched so much TV of driving. I just convinced myself that I knew how to drive from a very young age. I just convinced myself that I could get behind the wheel and drive, and I could. It wasn't like one of those I thought I could. No, I actually could. If it had a wheels and motor, I was interested, like I said, since from a very, very young age. And I just watched so many movies of people driving cars and racing cars and car chase scenes, and that I just convinced myself I could do it. And I did. But I remember because I'd be on the freeway, and back then they would haul from Vegas to Henderson. They would go so fast. I mean, the average person was going close to 80 miles an hour all the time. So here I am with my learner's permit, and I'm cruising like 75, 80 miles an hour because you had to keep up the flow of traffic. And I remember my mom, she wouldn't look up. She just looked down at her book. I don't know if she was too scared to look up. But we would just go and drive.
She must be real confident with your skill.
I think, you know what? I think she was. I never really asked her, but it had to be because we never really had any issues. I just got behind the wheel and we went on. I think the only thing, I remember the first time she let me drive, I had a little problem figuring out exactly how much pressure to put on the brake, like when you're braking and stuff like that. But other than that, once I figured that out, I just drove.
When I first learned to drive, there were no power brakes. There was no power steering.
Well, Well, there was. It was all right up here.
The first time I drove a car with those things, it was like, whoa, what a wonderful thing this is.
Yeah, like I said, I just thought it would dawn on somebody to ask, where did you learn how to drive a Standard? Because no one ever taught me. So I never thought about it before.
Yep, my daddy taught me how to drive.
There you go. So if you guys ever thought about how you learned, give me a shout. Text it to me, email it to me, whatever. I find it interesting to find the story. On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, got some more news for you. Talk to you soon.
You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio with Dave Palach here on Freedom 1110 WKQA.
There's something special about Napa Auto Care Centers. They're backed by the national strength of Napa. Nationwide warranties honored by thousands of locations. You know that's Napa know-how. But more importantly, your Napa Auto Care Center is independently owned and operated by neighborhood professionals who operate by a written code of ethics. Put your vehicle in the hands of ASE certified technicians who will greet you with a smile you can trust. Visit us today.
You heard me say it, and now here's your chance. Now's the time to go find your auto garage. Don't wait until it's too late. Go to NapaBDGHRVA.com and find your all-star car care center today. That's NapaBDGHRVA.com. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, Dave Palach from Let's Talk Cars Radio. You've heard me say it time and time again. Anyone can guess what's wrong with your transmission. The true test is getting it right the first time. At Bob and Cindy's Cottman Transmission in Janif, there is no guessing. They understand that your car is more than just a car. It's what gets you from work on time and home safely at the end of the day. Bob and Cindy understand you have to work hard to meet the needs of your customer. Their certified technicians will help keep you on the road for years to come. If you can drive it, they can fix it. Call Bob and Cindy today at Cottman Transmission Janif, 656-4123. That's 656-4123.
Nobody remembers the name J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated until you need them. But when you have a toilet problem, drains back up, pipes freeze, your heat or air conditioning stops working, then you remember J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Don't forget the phone number, 399-1714. That's 399-1714. Air conditioning and heating and all plumbing. J.F. Whitlow & Sons have been serving Hampton Roads since 1949. Residential and commercial. You can always count on J.F. Whitlow & Sons to get to you fast and get the job done right the first time. Located in Portsmouth and serving all of Hampton Roads. Those who know, call J.F. Whitlow & Sons. Call them at 399-1714. That's 399-1714. J.F. Whitlow & Sons Incorporated. Welcome back to Let's Talk Cars Radio, your automotive specialist. Call into the program now at 757-222-3705. Now, here is Dave Palach.
Welcome back, America. You're listening to Let's Talk Cars Radio on WKQA Freedom 1110. So before we went to break, we were talking about driving your first Standard, and I got a call for you. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Yes. This is Old Man Fred. My first stick shift car was a 1951 Henry J.
Oh, Lord.
That they didn't even come in automatics. It's Henry J, I think. And my friend, his dad had it, and we took it out on the road. I already knew how to drive. I had learned on a Power Glide Chevrolet, a 1951 my dad owned. And so we took this guy's dad's car out and drove it all over the place. That's how I learned how to drive a stick shift. And my dad, he was the one that taught me how to drive a Power Glide.
It's always nice when you get to practice on somebody else's car, huh?
Oh, yeah, a whole lot more fun. Oh, yes. It took a little bit of getting used to, but that's how I learned it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to say I thought it was crazy because I convinced myself that I knew how to drive one. And willpower, I guess, I was able to drive it.
Yes, the thing about driving, my dad, I was 14. He takes me. We get to a Chevrolet. It was new. Drive it down to the station. We get ready to get back in it. He said, "All right, get over there in the driver's seat." I said, "What?" He said, "Get over there in the driver's seat." Okay, I did, and I started driving. But the thing I remember was how big that hood looked. I mean, it didn't have a big hood. To me, it looked big, and it looked like the car was taking the whole road all the way across. and when I got to the house, I made a left-hand turn. We had big ditches in front of the house, and the car headed right down into the ditch. I hadn't judged that right, and the dad grabbed the emergency brake and pulled it up and stopped it from going in the ditch. But I do remember that, yeah. But the car looked like it was so big, it was taking up everything.
It takes you back a little bit, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yeah. It takes you back. Yeah. It was interesting hearing your stories and interesting hearing about everything you were talking about.
Well, I appreciate it, sir, and thank you for the call.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great weekend. It's funny because you've heard me say, so there's certain things in people's life that take them back instantly. For me, it's music and anything that has to do with a car. I have so many car stories that I can go back. It's funny. So we were talking, I want to say that was last week, and I was going to talk about last week on the air, and I didn't. I was on Lynn Haven. This is probably got to be 20 years ago. I'm going down Lynn Haven, and there's two huge dump trucks, like, you know, the big, huge size dump trucks, a little bit with the, what do they want, 8 rear wheels to them, because they have the ones that let down on air, you know, for the bigger loads. And I'm running alongside of them, and they were just so large, I didn't want to be next to them because I just didn't want any of the dirt or anything like that coming off. So I moved over, and I backed off the gas as we came to the stoplight. The vehicle that was in front of me and the vehicle on the other side, you know, they're stuck right along. The guy slams on the brakes, and literally just a wave of asphalt, like the liquid asphalt, comes splashing up over the side with the tar and all that stuff, and just coats both vehicles that are parked next to the dump trucks. I mean, completely coats them to the point where, and it's hot and it's steaming off the vehicle, like you see the steam rising off it and everything like that. And that would have been me had I not. I just didn't want to be next to them. I'd moved over and backed off the gas, so now I was behind them a couple cars. And the car, I would have been right alongside him at the stoplight. He just hit the brake too hard. When he hit the brake, it just was like slop. It just slopped inside the back of the bed of it and just come up over the edge like a big tidal wave and just covered both cars on each side of it.
Oh, man.
Those cars are destroyed.
Yeah.
You're not saving those.
Yeah,
There's
they're
no
totaled.
way. Yeah, I mean, I looked at them. I was like, first of all, like, it was hot and it was steamy. And like the guy that was in one side and it was a girl on the other side, they didn't even want to open their doors. Like, they were inside their car and they were just sitting inside their car because they were completely covered. I mean, you could barely tell the paint color. That's how much stuff come over and landed on the cars.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, there's no way to get that off. I wouldn't imagine. I couldn't think of any way they'd ever be able to get that off the car.
No, that would total the car.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that could have been me. And there was another time. It's funny, like I said, we were talking about all these different stories. I was starting to remember all these different things that happened to me. I was in Portsmouth off of Effingham one time, and a little, I say little old lady, and a gentleman, I hate saying it that way, but that's the only way to describe it, come right on by me, car is in flames underneath it. They're just driving. I mean, they got to probably be in their 80s.
Yeah, they didn't know.
Yeah, just come driving right on by me. Flames just pouring out from the bottom of their car as they go driving by me. I mean, like they had no clue. So I pull up alongside them. I start honking my horn. I'm trying to get their attention. I'm honking my horn. I'm waving and waving. Lady finally looks over at me and she waves. they just keep on driving. So I managed to get them pulled over, and I pulled them over right in front of the gas station. And I'm like, "Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Your car's on fire!" So they're just the puzzled look, you know what I mean? Which,
yeah, I do.
For obvious reasons, some guy they'd never seen just forced them to stop their car, and now he's yanking at their door handle trying to get them out of their car. So I pull them out of the car. And it's underneath where the engine compartment is. There's just little flames pouring out from the side, nothing big. As soon as I get them out of the carpet inside the car just lights on fire. I guess from the firewall getting so hot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just amazing. I was in the military. I think I was only like in the military for like a year and a half or so, or 2 years at that time when that happened. It was right on Effingham outside, just down from outside the shipyard.
Ooh, they should have loved you.
Yeah, it's just crazy things that you forget over time, little stories of dealing with cars that you just forget.
I wonder what was on fire.
I don't know. It was funny because I remember I ran up to the gas station and tried to get a fire extinguisher. And of like the 2 fire extinguishers I grabbed, neither one of them worked. They didn't work.
No charge.
Yeah, there was no charge to them. Finally, somebody come running up with the third one. We ended up putting it out. But yeah, two different fire extinguishers and neither one of them worked.
Man.
So I was like, it was kind of crazy.
Well, the idea of any car being on fire in any way scares me. So
I'm always fearful of fire and stuff in cars, just because you're kind of trapped in a little capsule. You know what I mean?
I've watched too many movies, and it seems like in movies, if a car's on fire, it's going to blow up.
Yeah. Talking about, like I said, I've watched way too many car movies. Hey, so here's something cool. Richard Petty's personal stash of cars and trophies and memorabilia is actually going up for auction May 12th in Vegas.
I figured that would find its way to a museum somewhere.
There is. They have a museum, and they say they have so much stuff they don't have enough room. He's put everything he said on display that he thinks should be on display, but he has so much other stuff, he says, that's just sitting and going to waste that he thinks it's time to part with it. So he's got cars they say they're going to sell for, $200,000, $300,000, $600,000. Some of the cars that he has that he's going to put out there for sale. And,
wow!
He's putting up one of his trophies. I think they estimate it's going to sell for like $200,000 for one of his trophies. But they got something for everybody. I mean, they got little things like watches and stuff like that too. They're going to sell. But so if you guys are a Richard Petty fan, hopefully they do something online where you can actually bid online, or maybe you can be over the phone bidder and take some pictures. But May 12th in Vegas, his stuff actually goes out for auction. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the Petty name's been out there running around forever. And it's funny that they're one of the people that still have a truck out at the races. They still sell stuff. I mean, a lot of racers have come and gone that don't still sell anything, but the Pettys are still out there selling stuff.
Strong name.
Well, it is. It's just like, look at, Dale. Dale's truck still is out there selling stuff. It's such a strong name. It was selling stuff. So, moving on. I thought it was interesting. Remember how... I hate this topic, but I'll talk about it because I'm fair, and I like being fair. You guys know I'm a Chevy guy through and through, but not every time does Chevy make the right decisions, so I have to talk about it. You guys force me to, because that's only fair since I dog on all my manufacturer challenge friends that own anything else other than a Chevy. So the 2019 GMC Sierra, so it's getting a carbon fiber bed. Now, we joked about the aluminum bed on the Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And now Chevy's going to do a carbon fiber bed. Now, they say just the floor and the side rails and stuff will be the only thing that will be carbon fiber. But still, it's like, remember I told you I thought they kind of had an identity crisis last year?
And what's the reason for that? To save weight?
Well, same thing. So when Ford did the aluminum bed, if you guys don't know, and you haven't been paying attention or you've been sleeping underneath a rock, Ford did the aluminum bed. It saved them about 700 pounds. So basically what Ford was trying to do was lighten the truck, so they could offer a V6 better gas-saving application and still have the same towing capacity as a V8 would have. That was the whole purpose for Ford really kind of doing that. Okay. They figured if we take 700 pounds off the bed and we put a V6 in it, you still have a nice strong V6 that you still could pull campers and have a very strong towing weight. So that was their purpose for that. It went kind of well for them until the fact that the people start showing the bed was getting punctures and it tear apart real easy. And they also did it for the gas savings. Now, Ford was banking when they came up with the design, if you guys did not know. That's when, remember, we were paying almost $4 a gallon for gas. They were banking on the fact they thought gas was going to hit close to $6. Even people said $8 a gallon, which was just insane if you think about that. But so they were banking on the fact if we go with a smaller motor, they would have the head start on everybody of having a truck out there that still was a pickup truck, smaller motor, better gas mileage. Well, gas prices didn't go in that direction, so a little bit of a missed call on their portion. But as far as the hauling part, that made sense. You know what I mean? So I think that Chevy kind of decided to lose their way a little bit and decide, somebody else is doing something. They're doing aluminum beds. We got to do something. And now we have a carbon fiber bed. So
I don't understand why now.
Well, considering the fact that we talked about they think gas prices are going to just fall like you wouldn't believe in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Which I believe that's true. They probably will, because they say the demand for gasoline is actually less now than it was before.
Well, plus, the United States is producing more and more and more.
Yeah, and with the mention of a lot of electric cars that are out there, and now you have ride share programs like Uber and Lyft and all that out there, people aren't relying on having to have a car and the need for gasoline near as much as they did.
Well, it's all based on demand. We all know that.
It is. So, yeah, Chevy, GMC, please get over your guys' crisis. You're killing me. You guys are killing me. I love you. I still drive my Chevy truck. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but it's really hard to stand in front of people and support you when you guys are having an identity crisis. Yeah, it is.
You've made it clear you don't approve.
Yeah, I don't approve. Another listener's letter. Hello there. I just bought a 2000 Chevy Impala. I'm having problems with the windshield wipers. Every once in a while, they stop mid-swing, sometimes just for a second, and sometimes they turn on and turn off again. If I use the knob and flick it back and forth, usually they will come back on. Seems like this should be an easy fix, or is it something serious? Travis in Chesapeake. Well, that's like the most loaded question, because it could be anything, Travis, but I would say that maybe in the switch itself, in the multifunction switch itself, is probably where your problem's going to be. And Chevy was notorious for having problems with their multifunction switch. I don't know if it was in the 07 Impala if they did, but I know a little while back, multifunction switch went bad in Chevy all the time, and they'd make the windshield wipers stop working, and then you start having problems with the blinkers and everything else. So I would say that that's probably going to be the first place I would look. I know that the Chevy trucks at one point in time, and I don't know if it transfers over in the vehicle, the little electronic motor would go bad. You just replace the motor assembly and pop it in there, and away it would go. But you could go underneath the hood and you could tap on it, and all of a sudden it'd start working again, and it'd work for a while, and then it'd stop. And if you went over there and tapped on it, it'd work for like another 3 months or something, and it stopped working again. So it's going to be one of those two things. If you don't feel like working on yourself, as I told you before, take it to your local auto center. Check out your local car care centers at Napa BDG Group, HRVA.com. You can find somebody there. You know, you guys asked for it. You kept on asking me over and over again. We want auto garages that we can trust, and you guys kept on asking me to give you auto garages names, and I didn't do it for the longest time. So we actually teamed up with Napa Car Care Centers, the Hampton Roads division of the BDG Group. And you can go online, you can check them out. They have a bunch of different garages to choose for you in your area. So if you guys are going to check them out, that is the place to go do it. I'm telling you, you'll be very pleasantly surprised. These are top-notch garages. And you know, you've heard me say it before, I don't like putting my name on anything unless I believe in it, but I do believe in the Napa Car Care Centers. I believe in their program. They have so many different experts at your guys' demand. Go check it out. So, moving on. I think I answered that question for Travis pretty well.
I think so.
All right. Hey, heads-up displays. What do you think of them?
I haven't seen one in actual use, but the pictures I've seen and what I've read about them, I kind of like it.
They are going to be the next new thing, they say. Everybody now is trying to do heads-up display in cars. Like, it used to be you used to only see them in like really high-end luxury cars here and there. Mm-hmm. Now, after the 2019 auto show, it seems like everybody's going to be pushing for some types of head-up display. And I think that's the reason why is to keep you less distracted while you drive. You don't have to look down and stuff like that. Everything's kind of right there on the windshield and keeps you from having to look around. So that's one thing I don't like. I've never liked that. And I know that's just a natural thing for driving. When I'm driving, I hate the fact that I have to glance down at my speed and then look back up at the windshield. I don't like that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of effort, doesn't it?
It's not that it takes a lot of effort. Come on now. I'm not that lazy. It's just the fact that I realize I've taken my eyes off the wheel. You know what I mean? I've literally taken my eyes off what I'm doing to look down and look back up. And it may not, to most people, seem like a really big thing, but it is. You literally glanced down and glanced up. And how long did you glance down? Did you glance down? You thought you saw a light, and then you checked to see if you saw a light, and before you know it, a couple seconds have gone by, and you haven't looked at the road. You're looking at your gauges.
Well, it's such a short interval. But, I mean, I understand if you're depending on the speed you're traveling, how far you can go for that.
It is. So just no different than texting and driving. We talked about this. If you look down at a text, they say you go two football fields. From the time for you to look down at the text and look back up, it's at 55 miles an hour, you've gone 2 football fields without looking at the road. That's a good distance.
It is.
I mean, you don't realize it because it's that quick, but that's a huge distance to do it. So I think heads-up display will be interesting. The only thing I'm worried about is it's almost kind of a distraction, too. It just depends on how, some of the older ones that I drove in back in the day, they seem to be they're a little bit of a distraction to me because you're kind of looking through them and looking out at the traffic kind of through the heads-up display.
Put a button on there to just turn it on when you want it, and then it goes right back off.
On the steering wheel, maybe.
Yeah,
well, it could be. Everything else is on the steering wheel nowadays.
Yep,
that's a good idea. You might want to patent that. Hey, how about Ford and a hangover suit?
Hangover like you drank too much?
Yeah, so Ford has developed a suit that they can put on you which makes you feel like you're hungover. Their purpose for this is not only is drunk driving a bad thing, but they believe having a hangover in driving is a really bad thing too because you're so distracted. So this suit will give you a pounding head. It'll give you sensitivity to light, all the different things that happen when you have a hangover. And they prove the fact that driving with a hangover is just as bad as driving drunk. You're that distracted while you're driving.
Well, I'm not going to wear that suit.
Just don't want the hangover?
No.
You're like, I can take care of that all on my own. I don't need a suit for that. It would be fun to play with people with it, though.
Yeah, if they didn't know and you were pulling a trick.
Look, they're trying to think of everything they can to make driving safer, and I get it, and I applaud the effort for everything everybody's doing. No different than, so we talked about cell phone apps. So there's actually now a new app that is actually coming out that they want to charge 99 cents for, which will let you know if your teen driver is driving distracted with a cell phone in there. So I don't. Here's the thing. So I have teens, so I know how that works. And if it's an app, they can just turn that app off. I would think. Even if you demand they put it on their phone, they could just turn it off.
So I'm sure there's a way around it.
Right. I've learned that there's a way around like every app that you can think of.
Just about everything there's a way around.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that works out. Now, as a parent, would you have paid 99 cents to put an app on the phone that would track if your teen driver was driving using the phone?
Yes, I would.
You'd pay the 99 cents for it? What would be the repercussions if you caught him doing it? Would it be like a warning the first time, or what? I mean, or you ground it from the car, or I mean,
loss of driving privilege.
See, and that's what I think. I think if as a parent, if you know that your teen is driving and they're using their cell phone while driving, I think that's it. You take the car away from them.
Because I think it's a serious matter.
No, it's a proven serious matter. Look how many kids die every year from texting and driving. Not just not kids, adults. Do you realize? I saw this study. We always go off the rail. I'm going to go off the rail on this one, but it lines up in it. So there was a study that was done that has teen drivers versus fleet drivers. Who do you think were worse using the cell phones?
Fleet drivers.
Yeah, fleet drivers. I had this mic turned off.
Fleet drivers.
Yeah, fleet drivers. Yeah, believe it or not, teens aren't the worst. They're actually fleet drivers driving like fleets of trucks and hauling stuff and transport trucks. They're actually some of the worst offenders more than teens ever are.
Well, they're professional drivers. They should know better.
Yeah, they're texting and driving, and they're looking at their cell phone. They're getting directions off their cell phone that have been texted to them and stuff like that. They say they're the biggest violators of it on top of teens. I would have never thought that. I thought teens would probably have been the worst because having teens, they can't seem to put their cell phone down. It's just impossible.
Wait till they start putting the texting screen in a heads-up display.
Don't say that.
Oh, yeah.
Because then somebody else will come up with that invention.
I still want the invention that just kills the cell phone in the car. I just want it to kill. As soon as you sit down in the car, I want it to kill the cell phone.
There's technology for that already.
There
is. It just
is.
has to be deployed.
And then they have the box. One of the manufacturers has the box where you drop your cell phone inside of it, and nothing comes through as long as it's sitting inside the box. Now you physically have to put your cell phone in it, but I think you're gonna see jamming technology in cars as it comes. But then everybody went, well, no, we're not, because we're pushing towards self-driving cars, so it's not going to matter anymore, which is true. So now you have a technology that's being developed for a technology that probably won't matter
to solve a problem that won't be a problem in 5 years.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So I don't know. We interesting to see which one wins the war. I have a feeling it's going to be the latter as far as self-driving car is going to win the war. Because everybody now, Toyota just announced that they're putting money into it. So they're putting huge money into the program too. So every time you turn around, there's somebody else who's just dropping billions of dollars into self-driving technology because they just want to fix all the problems. I think everybody wants to have these. Now, there's a lady, I can't remember her name, and it's probably best that I don't remember her name because I'd be mentioning her, and she probably wouldn't like it. She gives a report like every 3 months. I read a report on her, and I was talking about her last night. She is convinced that self-driving cars are just so far away that we're worried about nothing. I don't know what planet she's living on.
I think she's wrong in that opinion.
Every time she gives her report, and I was talking about last night. She writes these reports, and it's so far away. It's nothing to worry about. I mean, it's not coming anytime soon. And I'm like, what planet are you living on? Do you not? I mean, you're a news reporter. Do you not read the news?
It's already here. She just probably assumes it'll be a long way away before it's mass adopted.
And I don't think that it is.
No, I don't either.
I really don't. I think we're in such a push for it. But I guess it makes good news. If you just say it doesn't happen, we're talking about it right now, so it worked for it, right?
Just like the people that said if you ever traveled over 25 miles an hour, your head would explode.
Well, just like the people said we couldn't go to the moon.
Yep.
Well, there's people who think we still didn't. That's a whole nother story. I'm not getting into that one. The phone will start ringing off the hook. It really will. So, hey, for those who think that self-driving car technology is far, far away, they actually are invading Miami this week. Self-driving cars start a test program driving in Miami.
I'd like to see that.
In Miami or the self-driving cars?
Self-driving cars. I've been to Miami.
Not much to see. Miami Vice made it look like a great place. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm sure it got tons of tourists.
You can make anything look good on TV.
Well, yeah, you really can. And that goes in so many different directions, but
Indeed, it does.
You really, really can. It's one of the. Cameron's over there going, "Where are we going with this?
Stop that, Cameron.
Where are we going? Where are we going with this?" Hey, so the last thing that I want to get into, because we are getting close to time to get out of here already. I can't believe it. The auto shows. Okay, so we talked about auto shows and how they're starting to lose their popularity, and they're not putting as much effort into them as they used to. And if you've gone to an auto show lately, and let me say auto show, not car show, auto show, where they're showing you the new models, it's lackluster. And we talked about that. Do you remember me telling you that I thought that Detroit was very lackluster as far as, because everybody has kind of done it. You know, you have the way the shows go and the order they go. Detroit comes and it's just like, you feel like you've kind of already seen everything. You know what I mean? Even though they try to hold something for each show, somebody does a big display. They decide, okay, we're going to do ours at this one, and we're going to do ours at that one. Well, lo and behold, I think I was right. I told you that I thought we were going to see less and less. The Detroit Auto Show is now looking to move its date. So they do it in January, and it didn't. I don't think it really got a big turnout like it normally does. And I think people think now, well, it's because of the weather. I'm going to air quote that. Because of the weather.
I thought that as soon as you said January.
Yeah. I don't think it has to do with the weather. I think people just are generally just not interested like they used to be. And we've talked about this. I just think people are not interested. You can see it all on the internet before it ever gets to the auto show. And I think that's the big problem. That's what I believe. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Text me, email me, whatever. Tell me your opinion, because you guys do that quite often. But I don't think that I'm wrong. I really don't. I think that with technology changing and the internet, it's not like they just invented the internet yesterday, but I can go see or read a story on everything that's going to come out pretty much because of all the leaks and the spied videos and all that kind of stuff. You already know what to expect before you ever get to the auto show, and I think that's the reason why attendance has gone down. So moving the date, okay, so they want to move it to October, so it's a little warmer and there won't be snow on the ground, hopefully yet, but I don't think that's going to change anything. I think the auto show is just a dying thing.
Just a decline in interest.
It is. It's like big conventions. Remember when everybody had huge conventions everywhere? There was conventions.
Yep.
Convention. Every time you turn around, there's a convention. That has died off.
It has, but they haven't gone away.
They haven't gone away, but they've just died off. I can remember when it seemed like every single day there was a convention for something. And
they're expensive to pull off on top of it.
They are. It's a lot of money without a guaranteed return. And I think that's what the auto show has kind of turned into. It's a lot of money without a guaranteed return.
Yeah, they can't translate that into sales.
I told you, the auto shows back in the day, I went to them. They were huge. I mean, they were just so over the top. It was like going to a car carnival is really what it was.
I remember a few I went to, and you're exactly right.
I mean, it was over the top amazing. You just left out of there going, wow. You were just so overwhelmed with what you saw and the display and the turntables and the lights effect and the fireworks and everything they used to do at the car shows that they just don't do anymore. But you left there, you got every dollar you paid for the ticket to go. I mean, I never left a car show and went, oh, man, that was a waste of money until recently. Now I go and I'm like, I spent $25 to go to that. It took me an hour to walk around and I left for $25. They got my money. And that's how I feel.
That may be what's hurting it, too. The admission may be too steep.
Well, admission for everything is steep. It's $60 to go to a school dance. Right now, per person. I know he wants to talk. I'm not getting. I'm not
God.
It is $60.
Who? $60 to who?
To the students. It costs them $60 per student.
I'm glad I'm not in school anymore.
The cost of admission to everything has gone up. Take a look, guys. If you guys don't believe me, take a look at everything we used to spend to go do things, and look what it costs to do it now.
When I was in high school, we never paid to go to a dance.
Oh, the cost of admission, it's going up. That's all I can say.
Wow.
Take a look at everything. Everything's expensive. I remember when it used to cost me $2.15 to go to the movies. Now you need a loan from a bank to go to the movies.
Yeah, I know it's expensive.
I just looked it up. $11.45.
Hey, I remember when hamburgers were 15 cents at McDonald's.
$1.99.
Well, see, like I tell them, I was like, we used to stop at the drive-thru all the time when we were driving, first started driving. We went to the drive-thru, and, they had the 10-cent taco on Sundays. Mm-hmm. It was 10 cents, and they used to be 29 cents or 39 cents for the cheeseburger or a hamburger at McDonald's.
If you stop and think about it, what can you buy for less than $1 nowadays? Very little.
Very little.
If anything.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, guys, that is the end of our show. We are at that hour. It is a nice sunny Sunday where I'm at. Hopefully you guys have great weather where you're at. Enjoy your Saturday. Sunday is right around the corner. As you've heard me say before, turn off the TV, spend some time with your kids. They will love you for it. Take them to a car show. There's a lot of them starting to pop up. And if you can't find a car show, I'll make an exception. Turn on TV, watch NASCAR race. You guys enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you soon.